Many believe that Zebes sits at around 960 Gs due to Wikitroid's old calculation of the planet's gravity. But what if I told you it's even higher than that? I'll explain why Wikitroids are wrong in a bit, but first, I need to establish Zebes' measurements. The mass is given in the observatory room of Metroid Prime, which states the planet has a mass of 4.8 trillion teratons. Converting that to kilograms gives us 4.8 times 10 to the 27th power, or 4 octillion 800 septillion kilograms. Both the equatorial and polar radius are provided by Wikitroid. The equatorial radius is flatly stated to be 5,201.156 kilometers. The polar diameter is stated to be 11,700 kilometers, and since diameter is just radius times 2, the polar radius is easily computed to 5,850 kilometers. Using my old friend the mean radius calculator again, I have measured Zebes to a mean radius of 5,530.66 kilometers. With that, we can now compare its gravity to Earth. Zebes' gravity in G's of Earth will be G equals 4 octillion 800 septillion kilograms over 5 septillion 972 sextillion 190 quintillion kilograms divided by 5,530.66 over 6,367.43 squared, which gives us 803.725.66611 over 0.86858591299 squared, which can be simplified to 803.725.266611 over 0.7544148825, which is equal to 1,065.32485,173 Gs. Multiplying that by 9.802 gives us Zebes' true gravity, which comes out to 10,442.3141967 meters per second. Of course, Zebes isn't a perfect sphere either, having an equatorial radius unequal to its polar radius, so the gravity may be slightly lower or higher depending on where exactly on the planet you are. That said, I wouldn't recommend going there at all. The highest recorded Gs anyone has ever survived was Kenny Brack, who survived a force of 214 Gs during a car crash at the 2003 Texas Motor Speedways. And that was horizontal force, not vertical, and only for a very brief moment. It's established that well-trained humans could survive in constant gravity 5 times that of Earth. And remember, Zebes stands at just over 1,065 Gs, meaning its gravity in Gs is nearly 5 times the highest amount ever survived by a human, and exactly 213 times what any of us could withstand, unless of course you happen to be a non-human viewer, but anyway, I'd stay away from there. Using my sample weight, Samus on Zebes would weigh 198 pounds times 1,065.32485,173, which comes out to a staggering 210,934.32063 pounds, or 105.467160322 tons. For reference, the largest animal to ever live on Earth, the blue whale, weighs up to 100 tons, meaning Samus's weight on Zebes is more than that of a blue whale in our oceans. Truly crazy stuff. Before we move on from Zebes, I'd like to bring your attention back to Wikitroid and their calculation for Zebes' gravity, putting it at 955.415.65771 Gs. This is around 100 Gs off from my own calculation, which I have reason to believe is based off one simple error made by Wikitroid during their calculation, using the polar radius for Zebes and Earth, rather than using their mean radii, giving a radius of 5,850 kilometers for Zebes and 6,378.1 kilometers for the Earth, making Rx over Re squared 0.841257761123, rather than the number I got of 0.7544148825, which results in the improper calculation, which is 803.75083.724 divided by 0.841257761123, which totals 955.415657699 Gs. Wikitroid claims their number is around 954 Gs, whereas I put their calc at just over 955, but I'll chalk that up to a rounding difference, as they most likely stopped at around the hundredths place for a rounder estimate, which I chose not to do. This isn't meant to be a slight against Wikitroid or its writers. They do a great job covering most Metroid content, and their numbers were only slightly off. The point of this was just to show the minor differences between my work and Wikitroid's and how easy it is to mess up calculations like these. But enough of that rabble. It's time to make our next planet fall, and bear with me the rest of the way, because it just gets more and more difficult from here